guys, welcome back. Today I am going to make up for the deficiency in my last video, and we're going to start off by talking about Nurgle, land of the Plague Lord. On the border of Tzeentch's realm is the domain of Nurgle, the great lord of decay, who presides over physical corruption and morbidity. Nurgle can truly be called the father of all pestilence, for his immense frame is home to every disease known to mortals. His gigantic body is bloated with corruption and exudes an overpowering stench. His skin is greenish, leathery, and necrotic, its surface pockmarked with running sores, swelling boils, and numerous signs of infestation. Nurgle's inner organs rank with excremental decay, spill through the ruptured skin to hang like obscene fruit around his girth. From these organs burst tiny demons, which chew on the rotting bowels and suck upon the nauseous juices within. Such is the appearance of the Chaos God Nurgle, though mere words can barely do justice to his truly impressive foulness. Well, I already want to throw up. Although Nurgle is ranked behind Khorne and Tzeentch, the truth is that his power is not necessarily weaker, just less stable than that of the other gods. When Nurgle unleashes his ghastly pestilences, his power rises to a peak. Like a plague, his power grows and may reach pandemic proportions, temporarily overshadowing that of all the other gods put together. It is for this reason that Nurgle commands a wary respect from all of his brother gods. Though Nurgle's demonic legions may not be as ferocious as that of Khorne, nor as numerous as those of Tzeentch. When Nurgle's power waxes, even demons could fall prey to his repertoire of grisly afflictions. Nurgle's great delight is in the cycle of existence, in life and death. At the heart of his moldering mansion, he indulges his passion. Beneath mildewed and sagging beams, the great god labors for untold hours at an iron cauldron, a receptacle vast enough to contain all the oceans of the world. Nurgle works to create contagion and pestilence, the simplest, yet most fecund forms of life. Such is the ghastly irony of Nurgle's existence. Everything he does is with the goal of bringing more life into the world, yet so many of his creations are inimical to other beings that Nurgle is widely thought of as a destroyer, not a creator. With every stir of Nurgle's maggot-ridden ladle, a dozen fresh diseases flourish. From time to time, Nurgle ceases his stirring and reaches down with a leathery hand to scoop a portion of the ghastly mixture into his cavernous mouth and taste the fruits of his labor. Should the putrid soup meet with approval, the god waddles to the corner of his workshop, where he holds Pox Fulcrum, a demon blessed with the ability to heal infections, but afflicted with a vulnerability to them all. Upon opening the corroded cage, Nurgle forces him to imbibe the putrid mixture, watching with ill-concealed excitement for the signs and symptoms of his latest creation. Though Pox Fulcrum inevitably purges the disease from his body, the efficacy with which he does so allows the Plague Lord to evaluate his creations. If Nurgle is pleased, he returns to his cauldron. As he empties it into the grate below, the teeming liquid falls as rain upon the mortal world. If the concoction does not meet with Nurgle's approval, he begins to prepare his soup anew. As for Pox Fulcrum, she whispers to mortals while the Plague Father is busy at his cauldron, apprising them of cures for the ailments Nurgle unleashes upon the world. So has she entered the beliefs of 1,000 cultures under 1,000 names. Some mortals believe her to be Nurgle's daughter, who cures only so that new diseases can take hold, while others see her as Nurgle's bitter foe, a deity of healing and a patron of the afflicted. The Garden of Blight. Pestilence is not Nurgle's sole obsession. When not laboring at his iron cauldron, Nurgle cultivates his garden with a tenderness and pride utterly at odds with his rank and loathsome appearance. as with all worldly things within the realm of chaos, Nurgle's overgrown garden is of a scale large enough to befuddle the mind. Within its bounds are the plants and trees drawn from 1,000 worlds across 100 realities. Bright sprays of red, blue, yellow, and purple puncture the autumnal gloom. Havens of splendid cheeriness in a dismal woodscape. Each strain of flora flourishes in its particular environment, though not all are immediately recognizable. Like any gardener, Nurgle cannot resist the combining of his beloved strains. Almost everything in the Plaguefather's garden is some strange hybrid of vegetable, fungoid, and demonic life. Perhaps as a result of this, the garden is alive with a kind of ghastly intelligence. It is not sentient as such, but has enough carnivorous instinct and drive to attack intruders, its plague-smothered vines bestowing all manner of deathly poxes on those who foolishly come within reach. As Nurgle's power grows, so too does the splendor of his garden. At the zenith of the Plague Lord's power, the undergrowth becomes vital enough to burst over its boundaries and cast murky tendrils onto Tzeentch's crystal labyrinth. Left unchecked, the decaying presence of Nurgle's plants crack and weather the arcane geodes from which the labyrinth is composed. Such an assault, however unwitting, inevitably provokes Tzeentch's minions to instinctively attack the incursive foliage, using sorcerous fire to scour root, stem, and branch from the shimmering labyrinth. This, in turn, rouses the wrath of Father Nurgle. Before long, the demonic servants of the great sorcerer and the Plague Lord are at war once again. Such battles can last seconds or centuries, for they only cease when Nurgle's power, and thus the unchecked growth of his garden, recedes again. The Garden of Decay. In the middle distance, I saw a great fortress, half hidden by the miasma of decay that infused its very structure. Rotten and mildewed were its timbers, and its sagging roof was thick with infestation of every conceivable kind. Poison poured down the walls of this most revolting of abodes, polluting everything about it. Yet despite its state of decay, I sensed an inevitability about that unhallowed bastion. I knew beyond doubt that it had stood for years uncounting in that same ramshackle form, and would continue on until the very end of time. Before the fortress gate stretched a forest of death. Corpses, thick with unbridled decay, lay about it as far as my eyes could see. Here death was feeding off the dead. This was the Garden of Chaos. Vile creatures nested amongst the bones of the dead, there to gnaw at the fallen and fill the air with sickly sound of merriment. Here dark trees had petrified, their shapes indescribable and their essence corrupt. The graves of the fallen had become a rich loam, sucked upon by the trees of that dark forest. Pierced by the tree roots, the dead had stirred once more, and each branch bore a skull, mildewed and heavy with loathing. In that place I looked upon the fate of mankind, and wept for the future. Liber Malefic. And now that I have made that right, we are going to return to the 8th edition Army book, which so tragically was missing the Nurgle passage. Invasion from Beyond. Demons can only enter the mortal world if sustained by magic. Whilst magic flows, a demon is nigh unstoppable, for it cares not for the plight of its fellows, and fears nothing save the terrible wrath of the Chaos Gods themselves. Thus are the battles within the realm of chaos, where magic suffuses every particle of dust and air, ceaseless and interminable things, with victors but slowly determined, if indeed they are determined at all. Yet when the demons spill over into the mortal plane, their power waxes and wanes with the winds of magic, making them highly unpredictable foes. A demonic host can vanish on the cusp of victory, cast back into the realm of chaos as its sustaining magic fades. Conversely, a demon army can be whittled away to almost nothing, only to come back stronger and fiercer than ever when the winds of magic howl. Thus, the greatest demonic incursions are born of storms of magic, of reckless wizardly duels and other sorcerous calamities. In the frozen north, where a swirling gateway spews raw chaos into the world, demons have free rein to sow terror and malice. Little wonder is it, then, that mortal inhabitants of these climes have turned to the worship of the demons' masters. Yet the world is so suffused by sorcerous energy, the winds of magic so prone to ebb and flow, that almost any arcane event can prove sufficient to loose demons upon the world. Indeed, the world contains many places where the walls between reality and uncreation are particularly thin, legacies of wild magic through which the demons of chaos bring ruination and death. There are countless other places where the tides of reckless magic is kept in check, only by the careful artifice of mortal creatures. The sites of elven waystones and Lustrian temple cities, to name but a few. The disruption, or worse, the destruction of such places can loose so much raw magic that the resulting demonic incursion can last years, decades, or even centuries. A tide of madness. Demonic invasions are seldom motivated by territory or plunder, for the otherworldly minions of the dark gods have no desire for material wealth. Sometimes incursions are a key element in some divine scheme for supremacy, the lives and deaths of mortals made over into extra pieces upon the great game's sprawling board. But underpinning this truth is that for both the chaos gods and the demons they command, the mortal world is another canvas upon which to paint their own madness. The destruction wrought by a demon is often not a means to an end, but merely the inevitable byproduct of that demon expressing itself the only way it knows how. Like the dark gods they serve, demons are generous with their gifts, whether the recipient wishes to receive them or no. Nurgle's minions spread plague not only to bring suffering and despair, but because they are driven to do so by the dark spark of divine essence within them. They cannot conceive of why their diseases should cause such dismay amongst their victims, for a demon of Nurgle finds nothing more joyous than to be afflicted by pox or pestilence. Demons of Slaanesh revel in excess, and the torment they bring is, as far as they are concerned, the most philanthropic of blessings. Similarly, Tzeentch's demons subvert and mutate the natural order not out of cruelty, but are motivated by a combination of their own easily provoked boredom and the assumption that their victims must similarly be driven to ennui by their static and staid existences. Something instantly cured by the mutating gift of change. Only demons of Khorne are truly selfish, ever seeking to claim skulls for the Skull Throne, and so rise to higher status in their dread master's eyes. In this way, demons are akin to malicious children who possess a box of fascinating toys that are fragile by nature but unlimited in number. After all, in its own way, a mortal world is as resilient as the realm of chaos. A city humbled by plague or broken by war will inevitably recover. A mortal army torn to bloody ruin by fang, blade, and claw, or blasted apart by sorcery, will soon be replenished or replaced. This may take hundreds of years and cost untold thousands of lives along the way, but demons don't reckon time as mortals do, and inevitably find something else to draw their interest in the meantime. If the demons even comprehend the harm they are causing, they most certainly do not care. Inevitably, and with few exceptions, the mortals of the world react unfavorably to the demons' beneficence and assemble their armies to do battle. Though the demons are always somewhat dismayed at this most obvious rejection of their gifts, all save the demons of Khorne, who simply view an enemy army as a single massive offering waiting to be claimed. Their innate joy of battle swiftly overtakes them. After an eternity of fighting their fellow demons in the realm of chaos, the opportunity to strive against mortals with their shifting and unpredictable natures is a fresh and invigorating experience all of its own. At this point, the biggest and most powerful demon in the host assumes overall command. Occasionally, such primacy is guaranteed by that demon standing within the Dark Pantheon, but most of the time it is a privilege that must be fought for. Such bouts of dominance can rage for days, as the various pretenders and the portion of the host at their individual command battle for control. Once his opponents have been cowed or banished, the victor enjoys unbroachable authority, for a few days at least, guaranteeing that any foe the host encounters will find the demons united and of a single purpose. Armies of unreason. For a mortal, there can be few more terrifying experiences than to be caught in the path of a demonic army. Heralds of the gods ride at the army's head. They spread the proclamations of their masters in a tongue so dark and twisted that it somehow pierces even the guttural battle chants of Khorne's blood letters and the discordant singing of Slaaneshi demonettes. As the main host grows nearer, a shadow falls across the sky, the sun's light choked from the air by the unfurling wings of roaring bloodthirsters and squawking furies. If there are demons of Nurgle amongst the host, the next thing to be noticed is a bowel-looseningly foul odor, and the baleful drone of 1,000 plump black flies. Now the very ground upon which the host marches starts to ripple and flow, as Tzeentch's demons spread their gifts of change with rampant glee. Water flows uphill, trees twist into blackened and writhing tentacles, and the air is suffused with multi-hued fire. In the final moments before battle, the demonic host falls silent, tens of thousands of eager demonic eyes watching to see if the mortals will stand and fight, or flee in terror. Then the air rings to the sound of 100 sonorous horns. Roaring and bellowing, shrieking and squealing, the demons hurl themselves forward to assail the doomed foe. Where the enemy is strongest, there do the demonic horde's direst warriors attack. Soul grinders advance with clanking stride, great iron pistons thumping and harvester cannons booming. Great unclean ones lumber forward, bellowing joyfully with each sweep of their rust-pitted weapons, their massive bulk smothering or trampling any foolish enough not to evade their ponderous coming. Keepers of secrets hack and tear their way through the foe, each blow exquisitely placed to ensure maximum suffering. Lords of Change send rippling waves of untrammeled sorcery, arcing through the enemy ranks, mutating and incinerating all in their path. Should a particularly bold or desperate foe withstand these, then they must hold fast before the mighty bloodthirsters of Khorne, the raging demonic reavers whose tireless axes claim skulls by the thousands, and spill rivers of blood. Few indeed are the mortals who can manage such a feat. When the enemy breaks and flees, snarling flesh hounds and chittering fiends of Slaanesh bound and skitter in pursuit. Diminutive Nurglings swarm over the corpses, picking at eyeballs and playing all manner of foul games with the discarded entrails. The brink of doom. As terrifying as demonic incursions are, they are nothing as to what would occur should the winds of magic grow strong enough to allow demons to walk the world at will. On that day, the world will be subsumed into the realm of chaos, and all who yet live will be consumed by insanity and death. And surely Games Workshop would have to be consumed by insanity to think that the end times were a good idea. I see a world drowned in fire and plague, where madness is the only reason, and death is the only respite. That world will soon be ours, unless we fight these hellspawn with every weapon at our command. Luther Huss, Prophet of Sigmar. And I believe we are going to end our video here, because the next segment is just the timeline. Let me just make sure that that is actually the case. Yep, okay. So, that that is the end of the Demons of Chaos Army book. I am just going to go through the all of the Chaos armies in one go here. So Chaos Dwarves, Beastmen, and Warriors of Chaos. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye bye.